week putting up online. And so please refer those topics to your friends. And we've also been discussing ways to maybe bring specific topics to senior centers or other congregations or other places that might enjoy this information. But at least we have the YouTube videos and we have all the materials that Catherine has shared with us over this time. So this month's topic is on leaving a legacy, and I've gotten a little preview about how Catherine's going to share about this, and I think it's going to be very touching and a way that we can all feel positive about what we do in our life and how we share that information with others. I've also put on the table a handout which has more about the financial legacies. So if you're interested in any of those topics, please let me know and I'll send you information or meet to discuss those topics. So because we're always on a tight deadline, I'm just going to ask Catherine to come up and introduce the topic in her presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Pam. Oh, well.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so this is on? Okay, good. Good morning, everybody. It's nice to see some faces, returning participants, and some new faces. Raise your hand if you know what legacy means. What do you think legacy means, or what comes to mind when you think of the word legacy? What you pass on, okay? Most people say money, right? But not, yeah. So we're going to learn that there's a lot more about leaving a legacy than finances. However, that's important as well, and we'll talk about that. But there's many different kinds of legacies. So let's begin. And I want to point out, thank you to Audio Visual in the back, because you guys do a lot of hard work putting all this on. Okay, so this is our first time doing double screen, so we all have a little bit of a learning curve. So what does leaving a legacy mean? It means making a lasting impact that continues to influence others. What we pass on, correct, is legacy. It's being remembered after you die, okay? What do you pass on? How are you remembered? At its core, it's about how you're remembered and what parts of your life endure beyond your lifetime. Okay, so it's all about passing your legacy on in different ways. There's different types of legacies. So personal legacy is values, lessons, and the love that you pass on to your family and others. Okay, that's your legacy, personal legacy, which I want you to really kind of think about. There's professional legacy, what you leave behind as far as the work you've had, how you've taught employees or mentored, your personal legacy. The work you've done, innovations, right? The things that you've made happen in your work. I think that's a very important part of legacy. And when I was researching this, I kind of learned about that piece of it. Philanthropic, who can help me with the word? Exactly. The work, money, charitable donations, right, that you may have contributed to. Donations, causes you have supported, right? And then cultural and creative legacy is another category. Maybe art, music, writing that you've done in your lifetime that will live on, maybe inspire others through the creative type. So let's talk a little bit about personal legacy. So this is about intentionally shaping the way you've remembered by people closest to you. So I have an adult daughter who's 25 years old, and I hope I pass on some positive things, right? And you think about how you shape people in the world. So think about your personal relationships. Maybe you have children, maybe you have grandchildren, or an uncle or an aunt or nieces and nephews. Think about your relationships with them, what you emulate, what they'll remember about you. So, ways to leave a personal legacy. Live your values consistently. I like that one. It's all about consistency, right? Whatever your values are, whatever is important to you. Is it social justice? Is it letting the little, Martin and I were stuck in traffic of geese this morning. All 50 of them, right? Everyone's honking at the geese. I'm like, chill out, everybody, right? This is nature. Build meaningful relationships, obviously, with personal legacy. Pass down wisdom, okay? Things you've learned through your lifetime, regardless of what age you are, passing those on. So again, it's like, well, how do we pass those on? Well, it's being consistent with your values and morals that you want to pass on. Create or give something lasting. If you're an artist and you are drawn to that medium, maybe create something that will be passed on in your family. So being a leading example, and donate your legacy. Or document your legacy. Can you read that? Is all that okay? Okay. So lead by an example and document your legacy. What does that mean? Document. So usually that means keep a file, document, write, type, all of that, what your legacy is. And I think this presentation is important too, because a lot of people don't know what their legacy is. They may think it's, donating a lot of money, to a nonprofit or to a hospital or something. But, think about, who are you? What do you want to pass on? I know this one particular sister with a particular order that does a yearly journal and cuts and pastes. It's like her scrapbook of the things that happened in 2025. It was interesting because we were talking the other day about, well, who is she going to give it to? She doesn't have children. So she's kind of in the process of thinking about how she's going to pass on this legacy of hers, which is kind of interesting. So how to live your values consistently. Key word is about consistency. Identify what matters most to you. Is it kindness? Is it honesty? Perseverance? It kind of goes back to like looking deep within, like, who am I? What's important to me? Let those values guide your daily choices and interactions, ideally consistently, and others will remember you for how you've made them feel, right? It's how you make someone feel. Are you kind? Are you snappy at times? Grumpy? What are you passing along as far as personality traits, too? I wanted to talk about meaningful relationships and what that means to each of you and how differently these can be. So, how much time do you spend with the loved one? How much time do you give them? Do you make a phone call once a week just to say hi to grandma or granddaughter? How much time do you give? Do you offer support? Are you holding grudges, resentments towards a family member that they did something wrong or hurt you? Are we holding that? And then share your life stories and experiences. There's nothing better when you talk to someone and they are vulnerable. They're really transparent about something that's hurt them. We all get hurt. We all, we have individual, unique lives, but there's a lot of stories that we share together. And if you open that up and share that with someone, they may feel more confident and comfortable to share their, hurts or things that they're holding on to. So ways to pass down wisdom. I like this picture. I thought he looked wise, this guy. I'm not sure if he's wise or not, but I thought it was a good picture. Share your life lessons, traditions. What's an important tradition for you? I grew up in a family where there was never, not once, a family dinner. How about that? And guess what? I have created a family dinner. Every Thursday night, It's me and my partner and my daughter, and we have dinner. And what's really nice is that she comes over and she brings her laundry. So I know she's coming. And my partner, he makes a nice dinner, and it's just the three of us. So I want to pass on that tradition. I think that's really important because I didn't have one. Traditions, insights, mentoring family members, showing by example, conversations, letters. A lot of people will record their life. I've known adult children who will ask a parent to talk about a time in life that was difficult and how they got through it. Maybe how they got through a cancer diagnosis or a double mastectomy, whatever that was, and they share that with their family in that process. So what about creating or giving something lasting? Anybody in this write music, art, letters? Anybody? Some of you? Okay. That's really beautiful to carry on or to give to a close friend. That's people really remember you and honor the talent in you when you've passed on your work to people, because it's tangible. It's not like, oh, she was kind, right? It's tangible, it's art, and that's really, and I'm sure we all have little tchotchkes in our life that we keep because it's a memory of someone that has gone to heaven before us, right? I have tons of my grandmother's china and, little teacups, right, that I like to keep. So what does it mean by lead by example? We've heard that quote before. Anybody have an idea? Lead by example? Right? Yeah, some of you are shaking your heads. So lead meaning leading, right? Group of friends, family, by example. You want to be a good person. You want to hopefully act like a good person. None of us are perfect. We're going to have those moments, but to try to lead by that. How do you handle adversity? When things are rough, when things are not going my way, right? Things that I can't control. I'm always a little grumpy, right? Because I want to fix things or make you better or make things better for the world. So how do you handle adversity? How do you treat others and live with purpose? Often becomes your legacy. And it's really important when I think about working with the older adults in the aging community, a lot of times my clients will say, I have no purpose. I don't feel productive anymore. I've been retired. I need something to do. It's really important to have a purpose, whatever that is, big or small. So documenting is really important. You can do a life journal. You can document the hard times in life and how you moved through difficult times is really important. We're going to talk a little bit about creating a personal will, right? Or an ethical will, a letter of values and hopes. I really recommend keeping photo albums, which are really important to you, of current life or maybe the past, or what the future you want to design is really important for documenting a legacy and telling your story. So professional legacy. Has anyone ever heard of professional legacy? Maybe more of a personal one, but professionally, what does that mean, right? Making lasting positive impact in your field of a workplace, right? So not as much as about personal legacy, but work legacy. How do you handle yourself in an office setting? How are you working together with your colleagues at work? How are those dynamics? So we're looking at professional legacy. So define purpose and vision. Ask yourself, what do I want to be known for in my profession? So what do I want to be known for in my profession? Do I work well as a team with my colleagues? Right? Am I envious? Do I struggle with all of those issues that may get in the way of working well with colleagues? We know that working in a professional setting, there's a lot of conflicts, right, with coworkers, right? So look at yourself and how are you doing in that regard. Things that are important to you, integrity as a value that you want to pass on, innovation, Anybody do any mentoring in their life? Mentoring is really important, right? To follow and pass along the successes of you in your professional life. So that's very important. Resilience, all of that is part of professional. How you are in a professional setting. How do you behave? So look at your work performances in a business professional setting. Are you delivering consistent, high-quality results? Do you show up at work late? Are you out late the night before? When you get to work, are you finding yourself throwing yourself into the job and doing what's in front of you to be done? Taking responsibility for your piece of the project that you're working on? So be creative, critical thinking, solution focused in your profession. And setting standards others will want to follow. So it doesn't matter what position you have in a nonprofit organization, or if you're a CEO, or none of that matters. If anything, it's passing on to the other colleagues how you work in a workplace. Really, really. And it doesn't matter if you're owner, founder, CEO, someone, middle of the company, or somebody that are just learning. Interns, mentors are very important to think about what you pass on to people that are working with you. So mentoring is really, really important. We've talked about that already a little bit. Passing on and teaching somebody, not necessarily younger, can be an older, it doesn't matter, but teaching them. Usually, what can you think of a mentor? Giving an example of what a mentor is, or how she or he may behave on the first day of work. A mentor. How do they, yes, Chris?
So I used to mentor student teachers, because in my retirement, that's what I did.
Okay.
And it was showing them, helping them see the best practices, in teaching by observing and having a dialogue.
Right. And usually someone on the first day of a position, they're usually nervous. They want to impress. Maybe they're a little confused on what they're supposed to do. So it's a big learning curve. And so for one who's a mentor is to know that and take that into account and be a guide. Really be a guide to show them best practices. So that's something that we call professional legacy. Other things about coaching, guiding, elevate your colleagues, then lead by example. So how can you kind of develop this even larger in your life? Not just, let's say, desk to desk or colleague to colleague, but to elevate all of these issues throughout the entire agency or project that you're working on. So if we think about the Immaculate Heart community, professional legacy is also maybe giving more time, volunteering, even though you may also be an employee, things like that to elevate and make these systems last, build them into your life. So we all want to look at positive change. How can we grow a company? How can we each individually make a company, nonprofit, more successful, even in whatever the job responsibilities that you have? Reputation of character. We want to be liked by people, right? We want to have a good reputation. That's important. So again, behaving in certain ways in the workplace, in family, when there's conflicts, when there's dialogues, when it's uncomfortable, right? I can think of times in my life where there were work conflicts or personality clashes, right? Had to look at maybe myself, at how I didn't handle something very well, right? And discuss that in a manner that worked. There's nothing worse for a work environment to be toxic, right? When people are not getting along, it affects the energies within the company. So it's really important to do that. You want to be professional, respectful. So record and share lessons, right? Insights to your career. Help others find their path, right? We all struggle in the learning curve. We all make mistakes. And to learn and grow through sometimes challenges and where we've made errors. What about a philanthropic, did I say it right? Philanthropic legacy, all right? What about making donations, time and money to help support an organization that matters to you, right? That really feels good and connects to you. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be helping the geese getting across the street, or it could be making a donation to your favorite charity organization. So this helps causes. It helps communities grow. We need finances to help communities grow, and time. So this is important. I really believe in philanthropic legacy. I think it's really, really important. And it definitely is leaving behind a piece of you and what's important to you to an organization, especially the nonprofit world. So identify what issues matter to you the most. Education? Is it healthcare, environment, social justice? What really touches you? You know, where do you want to put time and contribute? Doesn't matter how large or small to an organization. Your legacy should always align with your beliefs and your passions. We want to give thoughtfully, okay? Not just generously. It's not just about writing a check. It's really about the thinking about what that money means and giving that to an organization. Focus on impact. Where are you really going to make change? Support efforts that create long-term change. I knew someone once that there was a school, I think it was a junior high school, that like the air conditioning didn't work. And he wanted to make a donation specifically to get new air conditioning for the school. Person had a lot of finances, but that's where he contributed to the school. Research organizations to ensure they're effective and align with your goals. You don't have to be wealthy to be philanthropic. And I'll never forget, true story, I was working at Cedars-Sinai in the psychiatric hospital, and there was a patient there on a psychiatric hold. And I'll never forget this. She was on the verge of being homeless, and she took out a checkbook and made a donation for $5 to the Cancer Society. And it was the first time I realized I don't have to have a lot of money to make a donation to support a cause. That she wrote $5 every month to the Cancer Society, and she knew that she wanted to do that. So I helped her do that. So that says a lot. It's really important. So it can be $5, it can be $1. Think about where you'd want that to come from, why, and then make that decision. I know I've struggled like, well, I don't have $1 million in the bank to have my name on a building, right? But I can contribute somehow. So donate time, skills, connections, right? Someone that you know who could help someone out, right? Connections are very valuable. Talk about a financial contribution, giving somebody time, right? Volunteer, serve on boards, okay, would be important to do. What about planning ahead? Thinking about after you die, where would you like some of your estate to go? That's very, very important to identify that. The causes that mean something to you, that are going to make a difference. So scholarships, charitable trusts, foundations to support causes. This is definitely a legacy, right? Because you're leaving behind, and finances are important to us, right? You know, we don't want to talk about that a lot, about money, but they are, even if it's $5. So think about those things. If you haven't done your estate planning paperwork yet, think about it. Or if you don't want to do full-blown estate planning, let somebody know who's close to you, that after you die that you want this amount of money going to this cause. So, you know, it doesn't just have to be you. You can involve others. You can communicate what you're doing to family members. Why is it important to donate here? Why this cause makes me happy? that you want to pass that on. And you can also communicate to your loved ones that this is what you want to do. Get them involved, perhaps. Maybe they're struggling on their own with this question. Document. You can write a legacy letter or an ethical will explaining why you want to do this. And I really want people to think about going deep around this topic. It's very, very important. This helps to ensure values and honored, and it continues your legacy. People will remember you this way as well. So again, including philanthropy and estate planning, you can work with a estate planner on these issues and gifts. It also ensures, this is really important, it also ensures that after you die, your money's going to the right place, right? That's very important too. So the most powerful legacy is the one that inspires others to do the same. I think on the whole, we tend to be sometimes a selfish society, right? Me, 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 me. And not want to give as much as others. That's okay. I'm not going to judge people's lives or different needs or finances and any of that, but communicate it and, find that passion. What about cultural or creative legacy? There's a lot of cultures out there, a lot of diversities. There's different ways to give. Different communities give differently, right? And I like this creative and cultural aspect. And different communities throughout the world will give differently too. So contributing something original, expressive, something that means a lot to you, meaning to the world, to again inspire, create, and have others see that creative, like these pieces of art that I always see around here. I love coming into this room. It's so vibrant. And this will be a dynamic piece of this room, right? Kind of adds to a legacy that this is what this room will be. These pieces of art. So how do you create authenticity? What makes you unique, different from other people? I mean, for the most part, we live a similar life. We get in our cars, we drive, we eat, we may visit with family, right? All of those pieces. What makes you kind of unique? Anybody? I'm asking some people. Authenticity, uniqueness. Anybody? You always come in here with a hat.
How long do you have to listen? 2 days or a year?
I get as long as you need.
Well, I just say this much. This reminds me of creating a legacy 1.0. I'm going to quote Christine Alencourt.
Please, yes.
What I want to know is there a possibility of discussing how you go about finding someone to handle your affairs? Because what Mary and I have done in the last 15 years is handle other people's affairs.
Ah, okay.
That's not easy. That's a wormhole.
Yeah.
No, I don't need that.
I can hear it great. Oh, the Zoom needs it.
Those things, I think they're going to blow up on me. All right.
You're good.
How do you go about
You're
locating someone that's going to outlive you? 4 times. 4 times I have chosen. Do I have to push something? 4 times. 4 times I've chosen someone to handle my affairs and my death, all of whom had quite a substantial amount of wealth.
Okay.
And all 4 of them have preceded me in passing on to the next whatever it is. So that's something that I'm concerned about, is finding someone who's going to outlive me to handle things, because that becomes a real reality.
Absolutely, and that's a really good question. When I work with individuals to help them with their durable power of attorney for healthcare or finances, is that I always recommend finding somebody who's younger than you, right? Oops, excuse me. Who's younger, right? Because if they die first, that's not going to be too helpful, right? Yeah. So I always ask people, is there a family member that that one likes, that one trusts to be that power of attorney for medical or finances? And if there isn't, right, and that's a reality to that, you can ask, I'm trying to think, sometimes what people will do will go to an estate planning attorney and put that down. Sometimes the person will even choose the estate planning attorney to be their durable power of attorney for finances. That's a real sure way that when you die, your money goes to whoever beneficiaries you have, like an organization or a person. It doesn't have to be, you know, when I use the word attorney, everybody assumes it's real expensive. It doesn't have to be, and you only do it once. Yeah, so that's kind of a sure way to think about that. Yeah, if there isn't anybody out there who wants to take on the responsibility of making sure that your affairs are in order, or that as far as your health care at end of life, they are specifically following your wishes. That's very important. Yeah.
How to find the person to do that
Is the
wormhole.
It is, if there's no one directly close to you who can do that, because you don't. It's a.
You've outlived 100 people.
It's a lot of people.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, it is. I'm glad you have, because I'm sure there's other people that question, well, who's going to take care of me at end of life, or where's my money going to go? And I think it's important to, and it's an interesting question, what if there isn't anybody, right? I think what I would probably do is put somebody in charge, like an estate planning attorney. Yeah. And there are very good ones out there that don't cost a lot of money. There's even LegalZoom, but that's online. But you could see if there's a suggestion on who a person could be to follow, you know, your wishes, especially under the finances. Is that helpful? I didn't really address your question. Yes.
I understand what you're saying. It's a question of, God bless this thing. It's a question of having, you know, people come through your life. I was thinking about that this morning. They come into your life through the strangest way. I mean, obviously, there's divine intervention there. But one person leads to another and another and another. So if I keep telling God every morning I get up, I need to find someone to handle this. This isn't going to drop dead on me again within another year, because that's what Mary and I deal with. We deal with people that die.
Right. Wonderful.
And it's very complicated, especially when you're not trained in the legal field.
Definitely, but
If you're in caregiving, it's one thing. You're in the legal field, it's another. So, and all the attorneys that I've dealt with, and I'm not being facetious, are all gone. And I don't know that I trust some of the people I've met. They're kind of peculiar human beings. So trying to find someone, it's like, that's something to pray for. There you go.
Well, I suggest, and it's wonderful work that you're doing, by the way, both of you, with the dying and helping them make these decisions. I would continue praying about it. And it's really about them being able to carry out your wishes. So if you even have a piece of paper that says, when I die, you know, here's my checking account number, here's all my accounts, right? I want this much going here, I want this much going here. And they can do that, right? As long as they can carry that task out. And then as far as choosing somebody to be there for you if you lose capacity to make your own healthcare decisions, it's not that you have to take care of the person at the end of life. You just have to be there when the physician says, what are her wishes? And you'll know that because she would have told you, and she would have had it written down, and that's legal. Ideally, I like that on a piece of paper or a form. But if you have a durable power of attorney with somebody, you can communicate that, and the doctor, he or she should be carrying out your wishes. Yeah. And, you know, think about if there's other people here in the community, IHM community, that would be available to do that for you. Okay. Yeah. And so that's okay, good. That's a conversation, and have them meet you for coffee or lunch and see if they would want to be that person for you. You're welcome. Okay, I was on authenticity. It's not about perfection, it's about being who you are, passing those characteristics to other people. And again, I really emphasize writing, art, music, if that's who you are, kind of a creative type, as things to pass on. So develop a body of work. What do I mean by that? Build a consistent portfolio of the things that you've done, even if you think they're little. No one will want them. Who's going to care about me afterwards? Why would somebody want this stuff, right? Well, people love you. People love us, right? We know who those people are. Yes, Mary.
We took someone we were caring for to Descanso Gardens, and I just made a photo book. When she died, her daughters fought.
See? Exactly. Exactly. Don't think that people won't want things from you or wouldn't desire those. I call them tchotchkes, things that are very, very important to us, right? Quantity is everything. However, sustained creative output builds depth and legacy. Okay? So if we talk about cultural diversity, I said earlier that all cultures have different ways to mourn, which we talked about last month, but also ways to carry legacy and to honor people. And we see that throughout the world, different countries in the continent of Africa, India, Asia, very, very diverse ways that people remember people. So you want to also look at your culture, maybe your family dynamics, or an organization that meets, some of the passions that you have. Share and preserve your work. So we can publish. You can always publish your work, right? Doesn't have to be a, New York Times bestseller. You can publish it, exhibit it, record, self-distribute is really important, and archive your work. Keep it safe for those that may want it down the road as part of your family. My grandmother used to paint on the back of her teacups, and she'd put her little name and the year. It's very special. It says 1974, and I can remember, where I was in 1974. It doesn't seem that long ago, but it is. But she was still alive in 1974, so it brings even more meaning to me that she painted it. So again, we talked about mentoring, collaborate. What about working with someone to build cultural diversity on different projects? You don't have to do these alone. You can create a class, even here in the Immaculate Heart community. Maybe you have a class on legacy, and bringing things to share or show, right, is important, right? So community culture, celebrate about traditions. Maybe there's a dance, right? Maybe there's types of songs that are very traditional in your culture that you want to pass on, something that you create all the time. For example, I'm creating family dinners. It's my hope that if my daughter has a family someday, that she has family dinners, right? I always wanted family dinners as a child, even if everyone was screaming at each other, right? You've seen that in the movies. I would have loved that. So that's something that's deep in me, because I didn't have it, didn't experience it. So think about what's important. Do you celebrate Christmas? Do you celebrate Hanukkah? Are there special ornaments that you've made or purchased? All of that is legacy, right? So it's not just about personal, professional, money, okay? Some things to think about. So I like the idea of a creative will, and we're going to do some work on this when I'm finished speaking here about some things that are important to you that you want your family, friends, and colleagues to know. It's called a living will, building a legacy and putting it on paper and what's important to you. Be bold enough to be remembered, okay? Be bold enough to be remembered. I think that's an important piece of this too. I don't think you need to be grandiose, but bold enough to be remembered by those that really love you. Be recognized. Be courageous, persistent. Bring all those qualities into your life. So what do I want others to remember about me, carry forward, or be inspired by because I was here? I was here for a period of time on this beautiful earth for however long I live for. We want to be remembered. So your legacy is built through everyday actions. The way you love your family, the way you support a friend when you're tired, right? When you're tired and you have to give to others. So support a friend, solve problems at work, give back to causes you care about, or share your voice. It's not something reserved for the end of life, but it's something that you craft now. Okay? So it's something about thinking about who you are now and being inspired by others is really, really important with legacy. And this is one of my favorite quotes. This is kind of another piece of legacy besides personal, professional, money, creative. What about how we think? I'm a big believer in cognitive behavioral therapy. And what that essentially means is that the way we think about something affects how we feel about something, right? Thinking and the thoughts that we create typically activate how we feel about something, which then activates how we behave around something. So I wanted to pick this slide out about legacy. Legacy is also how you think about something, how you feel about things, and how you pass those on. So I'm going to read this. So watch your thoughts. They become your words. Watch your words. They become your actions. Watch your actions. They become your habits. Watch your habits. They become your character. And watch your character. It becomes your legacy. So the way you think about things, feel about things, behave, and take the actions that you do, create your legacy as well. Okay, so we're going to stop here and we're going to do some work towards the sheets that I have out on the table about personal legacy, professional legacy, philanthropic, or creative legacy, cultural legacy. Were you born in another country? Are your parents from another country? So take a couple minutes and look at this, and I am going to actually, thank you very much. So personal and legacy, a personal legacy letter. So I am writing this letter to express what truly matters to me. Not the material possessions, but the thoughts, values, and memories that I hope will continue through you. Throughout the years, I've come to appreciate the significance of, and fill in the answer. These values have influenced who I am and the way I strive to live. I hope you can embrace them and discover your own path to embody. It's been cut off here. Gratitude. I want you to understand how thankful I am for the ways you always supported me or guided me. You've added joy and meaning to my life in ways that I wish cherish forever. I still recall when those experiences shaped my character and are part of the legacy I wish to pass on to you. My desire for you is that always remember that you are profoundly loved. My desire for you is that, and always remember that you are profoundly loved. Reading this, was there anybody that popped into your mind that fit those sentences? Yeah? Somebody did? I mean, you thought of someone? Oh, your children. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Anybody else? And you can rewrite these as well. This is just a sample. But you can write whatever you like as a legacy letter? Anybody else? Because I struggled with this a little bit. I couldn't think of someone. Some felt right. Anybody struggle with this exercise? Yeah, a little bit? Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. That is easy. I mean, it's...
The material part is easy.
Yeah.
It's this part. There's no one to do this to. That would, no. It's just,
Well, who do you want to be with you at your last breath?
I don't.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I really don't. Because if I've sat Shiva with everybody as they pass, one of the hardest things is to try to leave when people are holding on to you going, oh,
Right.
don't leave us, we want you to stay for another 100 years.
Right.
And that's a problem. And having done this for 35 years, no, I don't want the same expression.
And it's really good that you know what you don't want.
Yeah.
I always say it's more important to know what you don't want than what you want.
True.
Because the don'ts, that's a strong communication piece of what you don't want. And you have every right to know that. Anybody else struggle with this exercise?
Oh, Catherine, this is wonderful, and thank you. We were just kind of chatting amongst ourselves that, thinking about it in terms of a personal legacy and then also as a community legacy, because for many of us as a community, some of us, like I have children, but some of us in our community don't have children, and it's like, what do we as a community want to pass on as our legacy? What do we see as our legacy? And I don't know if anyone else wanted to comment on that, but that's kind of what we were talking about.
Absolutely. That's part of, I think, personal, professional, for those who are employees of IHM, but also that are, part of the legacy and the history. Talk about history with your organization, and how do you want to carry those stories forward? Exactly. And also how to continue those stories so more can join the Immaculate Heart community today, that we can fill these rooms. Yes.
I had the pleasure of visiting recently with two senior members of the IHC community, and one type of possession they both had and shared were very early Karita art pieces that had been given as a personal gift, friend to friend.
Yeah.
And they're already putting little slips on the back of those framed artwork pieces, who to give to into the community and in honor of the community. Yeah. So I thought that was a beautiful legacy.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Beautiful legacy. See, there's so many different kinds of legacy, right? So many, yes.
So this frame that you've given us, Catherine, is really a perfect frame for us, because we're going to be kicking off a project. In fact, Anne and Catherine are here today, and they're going to be part of a group that's going to be formally interviewed, and then we're talking in the talking stages of doing a legacy project, if you will. That's a good title for what we're talking about. So people could contribute poems and music and stories, and it could all be digital, and it could be part of our legacy going forward, and it would include new members and so forth. So I'm really excited about, I had no idea what you're really going to talk about today. So I think that really, as a community, it gives us a framework to start a legacy project.
I think that's wonderful. You're welcome. There's so much value and depth in that, Anybody else? Yes.
I also just want to say that for me, it's listening to our members and supporters and how they've been inspired, and how their material items or thoughts can actually help inspire a whole nother generation to pick up the work that's still yet to be done. I think for me, it's telling the story that whatever happens when we are no longer here, that we have a spark of the next generations taking up that work and not, and having people who've done it before. And I know when I look today, like, why did I get out of bed? The news was really bad, and or I don't feel so great. That it's that inspiration that I've seen others that have either suffered or worked really hard towards or sacrificed, that impels me to help carry on their legacy.
Absolutely, especially to the younger generation, right? I think really important. I think that the younger generation, I thought I was part of the younger generation, but I realize I'm growing up too, right? But I mean the younger generation, I think, and millennials a little bit more, later and a little bit younger, they tend to be a little lost sometimes. They don't, and maybe it's age, but they tend to need a purpose. Young people who are interested in philanthropy and giving back. There are those that want to be part of a group, right? And they're finding their way, which is really important. I saw a hand. Yes, hi.
Hi. My name is Chris Cressy. This is my first time here. I've been to a couple of other lectures because I'm good friends with Selena Alvarez, who is with Housing Works and has dear friends in this organization as well. And so with your exercise of writing a personal legacy letter, I was struggling with that as well because I live on a shared property with my family and they know what I like and don't like, and we're currently in a headbutting relationship dynamic. And I don't know that it is so much about values that aren't shared, but more likely different stages of life. Because, as we grow and change, we have different priorities. Anyway, since I moved to the Pasadena area about 9 or 10 years ago, I fell in with a creative community of writers, and I would like to share a poem that I wrote in 2016 that is similar to the concept of the legacy letter.
Yes.
It's called Guide to Objects You Inherit. Within these walls lies a collection of a lifetime sacred, found, and carefully curated or carefully cared for memories attached to objects of beauty. Of course, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, which is why this guide will be helpful in understanding the collective value of such things sacred to me. Let's begin with the bronzed child's leather shoes, which were your father's, and the hand-tinctured photo of him on his first tricycle, all chubby legs, grinning from ear to ear, wearing a silly hat. Next is the gold charm bracelet he gave me the day of your birth, with a bell announcing your arrival, bearing no additional charms. Oh, here's a needlepoint pillow made by my coworker with all your birth statistics on it and a few missing stitches that the bugs ate. Just look at the laminated bus passes from the first 6 years you went to school. You really grew into a sweet young man and kept the same eyes and grin like your dad. May he rest in peace. Do you like this picture of a fishing boat in Menemcha on the East Coast? We bought it off a restaurant wall in Martha's Vineyard for $250. What about these two gold-colored block art pieces my mother always found offensive? I thought they were inspired. I called them, or inspiring. I called them Buns and Boobs and the Golden Wand. One of the dads in your Indian guide says he modeled for the wand. Imagine that. Oh, I'm not at all sure I can finish this catalog. Certainly not today. Looking around, it could take a lifetime. After all, it did.
Beautiful. Thank you very much for sharing that. That was absolutely beautiful. And it's my hope the project about legacy will continue, and it's something you can certainly, you said you're new, can contribute and be a part of the community. So thank you very, very much. And I think it's normal to struggle with these kinds of pieces. And so it's okay not to know. It's okay to really go deep and think about it. And maybe the answers will show up. And if they don't, that's okay. There's other ways to, find your way along this path. So I really enjoy this work. And I really want to, thank everybody at the IHC to have me here and be able to share some of my knowledge with, working with clients and talking about difficult things. So thank you very much. We have a little bit more time. Any questions, anything? I'm here for a little bit. You can talk with me privately, or if there's any questions. Chris?
I just hope you'll share this personal legacy letter form, and then we can send it to those on Zoom and to whoever would like it. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. All right, thank you, everybody. Pam, can you remind us again the next for anyone? We'd love to again build these monthly conversations. And our next is Friday, June 20. Thank you.
Yes, Friday, June 20th at the same at St. Paul's Commons here at 10 o'clock in the morning. And please stay for the lunch and learns afterwards.
Yes.
People can write to me at pam.hope@ihworks.org. And if you're not on our mailing list, we can get you on our mailing list. And if you'd like to have links or any of the handouts that you've given throughout these presentations, I'm happy to share.
Yeah, and lastly, if there's a topic of interest that you want to learn about, that you're curious about, please email Pam, and there's availability to create more development around this as far as, communications and how you look at yourself in the world. So.
Stay for lunch, and the next presentation will be at noon, but lunch will be out at 11:30 in just a few minutes. At 11 in just a few minutes, and we'll have a speaker from SELA speaking about mutual aid.